Hey guys, today I wanted to talk with you about the importance of developing a reading habit as an adult. Now, this is something that a lot of people had as a kid, but really have let slide over the years. It could be that you enjoyed books in elementary school, maybe middle school, but very few people relative to that group of people who read early in childhood and adolescence continue to read today. So I wanted to go over some of the benefits of reading and exposing yourself to new ideas as you're striving to build an intentionally structured life for yourself. If you read in the world today, it's probably because you choose to do that. Like, this isn't something that happens by default. You're gonna have to make time for it. And we're gonna talk a little bit later about ways that you can do that more effectively. But just know that this has to be a deliberate decision. And really, there's all sorts of benefits to being well-read. Not only are you exposing yourself to new ideas, and you're challenging your beliefs and your biases, but you're also creating sort of a database, this well of knowledge that then you can draw upon whenever you're in conversation with other people, or whenever you just want to remember something that you've read before. You have that at your fingertips, ready to use. So you may be wondering, what do I read? And that's a valid question. Really, I think there's two primary purposes of reading as an adult. The first is simple pleasure. If you don't find reading pleasurable, I invite you to experiment. Really, you should try it out with fantasy, science fiction, romance, whatever floats your boat. Find what that is and make it enjoyable for yourself, because if it's not enjoyable, it's probably not sustainable. The other primary reason that you'd want to read, and this especially applies to nonfiction, is that the information you consume changes you. And if you have a database, a well of knowledge that you can draw upon at a moment's notice, suddenly you have so much more power, and that information that you've read becomes a part of who you are and who you're becoming. I would also encourage you, be selective in what you read. There's really not a lot of time compared to all the books that have been written, all the books that are even just in your local library. You don't have time to waste on stuff that's not good. So don't be afraid to drop a book halfway through. Don't be afraid to skim if that's really what you need to do. Don't be afraid to speed up audiobooks. And speaking of audiobooks, that's one of the most effective ways that I've found of getting through a large quantity of material quickly. What I like to do personally is I'll listen to the audiobook of a book that I want to get through for the first time. Then, with that information, I'll evaluate it based off of how it impacts me and how likely I am to want to reference that material later. If I think it's worth it, I'll go out and I'll buy either the ebook or the physical book. And then I'll go through my favorite parts, either in the ebook, or I'll listen to the audiobook again and I'll highlight what I want to reference later. Because then I can go into the app that I was reading on, or I can just open up the book and find the pages that I dog-eared or that I highlighted. Now, some people are going to be a little apprehensive about that, but I'd remind you, if it's your book, it should suit your purposes. So there's really nothing sacrosanct about the pages of a book. If dog-earing a page means that you can find that information more easily, then by all means, do it. And finally, don't forget to apply what you're learning. Share it with others. Talk about it with others. Have deep discussions that prompt further ideas than what's in the text. If your goal is to become a more educated, more well-rounded person, then reading is an essential first step. But if it stops at reading the words on the page, you really haven't achieved your goal. So hopefully now you have a bit of a better idea of why it's important to establish a reading habit as an adult and how you can do that effectively. Please leave a comment down below. Share with me what has been effective for you as you've tried to establish a reading habit for yourself with a regular busy adult schedule. Also, be sure to click over here to check out my latest video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks. See you guys later.